Hello, this is Dr. Megan DeChavo from SUNY Polytechnic, and I'm here today to show you some of my online content for my Anatomy and Physiology course. I've been teaching Anatomy and Physiology at SUNY Poly for 11 years. I also teach pathophysiology at SUNY Poly. I teach pathophysiology at Utica College as well. And in light of the pandemic, I wanted to share some options for online teaching with you today. So, welcome to my backyard, by the way, so I apologize in advance if there's any noise in the background. However, I don't have a quiet spot in my house. This is the nicest, quietest spot that I have. So you can also see my screen. I'm going to pan down, and I work in the platform of Blackboard, as I'm sure you do as well. And I have it open right now to my Anatomy and Physiology 2 lecture. And what you can see right here is the content within the Blackboard format. And in order to try to keep things as linear and cohesive and straightforward as possible, I've put the majority of my content into content for the students. All of my notes, my lectures, my quizzes are in content. So if we pan down, one of the biggest changes that I've made this spring is to create one page that has the course schedule. And how this helps is you can see the dates for week 1 there, January 20th through the 26th. If I pan down, the folder with all the work that they need between January 20th and 26th is in that folder. Week 2, week 3, week 4, etc., all the way through are on this weekly schedule, including when their exams are, lab and lecture, and the content for those lecture and lab exams. That has worked out really well for the students. They always would sort of forget to look at the calendar. So this is one page right in the beginning of the content, which they open repetitively because this is where everything is, and they see it right in front of them. As I pan down, if they take exams, I always put the exams in this folder called All Tests. Those open and close as they are due. They take their exams at home with the Respondus lockdown browser. We've had a few issues with that. One of the preventative measures that I have taken to prevent issues with Respondus, if you use that, is I've created 2 quizzes. One has them take the quiz with Respondus, so they learn how to take it. The other one has them learn how to do a proper scan and to take the exam, in effect trying to show me that there's no way they could cheat on this exam. I'll show that to you in one of the folders as we go. One thing that I do, and I send this out to them before they even start class, is an introductory video. And this walks them through the class very much like I'm walking you through the class right now. And it really helps all different learners have that visual input, the auditory input as well, that they can save and review if they need to go over how the class is run at any time. I have a very thorough review with pictures of all our lab models and specimens in here. In different PowerPoint folders that I've put in. We'll take a quick look at that. So you can see here's bones, 2 things of bones, joints, muscles, etc. And they're pictures of all the models with labels on them so they could go and review. This was a helpful thing to do as this translated really well when the pandemic happened. I actually used these for exams and reviews. Obviously, it's not as good as being in person, but luckily I had that in place already. Then I get into the weekly content. I'm going to pan down. You can see week 1, due dates. Week 2, due dates. Week 3, due dates. It just repeats. I think one of the biggest things that I can tell you is to be repetitive and rhythmic. Create whatever you can in the upcoming weeks that will be the same thing week by week. For example, and then you have the due dates on there as well. And then I email them every week and post an announcement saying week 2 is due, or week 1, let's go to week 1 is due. by January 26th, everything in week 1 needs to be completed, including your weekly quiz. Week 2, same thing. I send an email, I post an announcement. Everything that is due in week 2 is due by February 2nd. And I do that at a set time every week. Every Friday, I post the weekly announcements as to what's due for that upcoming week. And the students respond really well to that. It's just like having kids. You know, you need to know that you have these chores and they're due by this due date in order to get your allowance. They need to know that they have these topics that need to be covered by this due date to complete their work. So, going into week 1, okay, so at the top, I put exactly what they have to do. So during this week, you need to print the notes. They have a workbook preparation. They have to watch the videos and take the quizzes. So you can see there's their PowerPoints. Here's the video. Here's their workbook preparation. Here's their quiz. Okay. And then they have their Respondus quiz that teaches them how to use the Respondus videotape program and proctoring system, so that way they understand how to do that. I also have optional papers that are just really point and shoot things that help them to review the material. Okay, so if we then move into week 2, it's the same setup. And at the top, I have, and I know it sounds so silly, but this has eliminated all the confusion that I've had in the past. Print the notes, watch the videos, fill in the workbook for lab. We usually have them bring their workbook into lab to review and take the quiz. Okay, and if I pan down, you see the same thing. So repeat, repeat, repeat is just so important, because by week 3, they're trained. They don't want to say trained, like, you know, but they are. They understand exactly what's due. It lowers their stress level. It lowers our stress level, and they can move on and do their work without having to worry about something new. Okay. I wanted to show you really quickly. We had some issues, like I said, with Respondus. So in all of my courses that do online exams, I have created a quiz that they submit. Okay. And they could use their notes for this quiz. Oh, it may not be in this class, on how to take a good environmental scan with Respondus. Oh, I know where it is. Hold on. Here it is. Okay. So if you use Respondus, I found this really helpful to very clearly explain to them, scan your complete environment to prove to me that you don't have anything around that you can cheat from. So just something to think about. And I actually made it a quiz where they have to take it, so I know that they understand all of these directions. Okay. And then moving down through so sorry about the saw in the background. The week by week, you can see it's all the same. And all the due dates are there. And you can go in and see what is due that week. Okay. All right, let me see. There were a few other things that I wanted to. Office hours and when I return emails. In my first email and announcement, I do that introductory video, which is very similar to what I'm doing for you now. But I tell them exactly when I'll be returning emails and exactly when I have my office hours, and then I make sure that I get on and return those emails and let them know. I also let them know that every Friday I post my announcements so they know to look for them. So, you know what? It's like having your own children, keeping it very straightforward, very organized, and it's worked out very, very well for my online classes. The final thing that I can say is if you're contemplating putting things online, to start very simple. So maybe just getting your lecture notes on and lectures and a quiz, and doing that for every week coming up. I know that at SUNY Poly in Utica, New York, we have a room that we can have our AV technician come in and set up a video camera to videotape us without getting close to each other. So you might want to contemplate putting some videos together now if you want to start putting an online content together for your students for the fall. It's also been helpful, if I could just give a little plug for the online videos. We do have in-person lecture and all in-person labs. The plug for the online videos of lectures is students love that they can go back and review them. So we've actually made attendance optional except for the exams, which we're moving to an online format as well. But the students can come to class or they can take the day off if they want to. If they're sick, they don't have to come in. My students with learning challenges love the videos. If they have a short attention span, I tell them do 15 minutes a day until you get through the lectures. So they have been a very nice way to teach online, but also a great supplement, even for the in-person lecture. So I hope this has been helpful for you as a general overview. I think some of the great takeaways is don't drive yourself insane creating a ton of content for the fall. Try to keep it simple. Keep it to notes and lectures if you have those and post those online, and keep every week organized. Keep the dates on there. Keep it very repetitive so your students get used to it, and keep that format. And then make sure you just respond to them if they get a hold of you, because they just love having that interaction since we don't get it in person. And I do hope this helps, and good luck to you all in the future. Take care.